Indiana takes down Minnesota. Listen, the Ben Johnson Minnesota story was a beautiful one. It's still not over yet. I mean, they're still 3-2 in the conference, 12-4 overall. They are 0-2 in quad one games, so not a lot of impressive stuff there. But Mike Woodson and the Hoosiers at home. I mean, it's just really, really tough to go into Assembly Hall and beat that team, especially if you're an up and coming team like Minnesota. We kind of played fraudulent or good with Minnesota last time we were on, and I think they're better than people give them credit for. I think they could be a tournament team, but they're definitely going to have to get some wins, especially on the road in the Big Ten if they want to get there. Shaps, what were your thoughts on this game?
Yeah, credit to Minnesota. Universally picked to be dead last in the Big Ten. They've won 7 straight, I believe, coming into this game. They've beaten, who's been put in front of them. But it's hard to win on the road when you go 2 of 20 from deep. And this was a breakout game for Kel'el Ware and Mackenzie Mgbako, 36 and 18 between the two of them. But the question for Indiana is really, can those guys give consistent effort game in and game out? Indiana's a tough matchup for most teams because they're the biggest team in the Big Ten, but they're very young. And it really just comes down to, can they shoot the ball consistently enough? Because they really don't have a lot of depth either as well. I don't get the Gabe Cups thing. He played 30 minutes and scored 0 points and had 1 assist.
4 rebounds.
Okay. Way to go, Gabe.
He played 30 minutes in this game?
He did.
Yeah, I think they benched Xavier Johnson because he got thrown out of the last game.
Yeah, it was like
is what I saw on Twitter.
Stuff. Yeah.
So that's obviously the reason he was playing that much. Xavier Johnson will obviously play more. Luckily, they didn't need him in this game, but it just goes to show like the lack of depth that Indiana has. It seems like Woodson gets 1 or 2 good players in each class, and then he forgets that like you have to find more players than that, because there's also players that are going to leave or graduate or transfer or whatever. And he's just, he needs to find a guard for next season.
I think he wants CJ Gunn to be that guy, but CJ Gunn's just not that guy. I don't know. I don't get YMCA Gabe Cups. That's what I call him. Greg Waddell on Sleeper Media calls him Cardio Gabe, but I really feel like he's more like that guy at the YMCA that everybody hates to play against because he runs around so much. I don't get Gabe Cups. I don't like how much he plays in certain games. I would have rather seen CJ Gunn in there more. Give Trey Galloway some more ball handling in this one, but ultimately, at the end of the day, when you have Kel'el Ware and Malik Renew down low, at a certain point, it doesn't even matter because they're just both really, really good down low. Kel'el Ware had 14 rebounds to go along with his 17 points in this one, and Malik Renew, he just kind of, is a bucket if you give him the ball. And Mackenzie Mgbako, I mean, he scored 19 points, was the leading scorer in this game. I think overall, he was the leading scorer in all this game. So, Ken, do you have any thoughts on Indiana beating Minnesota?
Yeah, I think that Indiana, even though they're 4-2 in the conference right now, their next 3 games are Purdue, at Wisconsin, at Illinois. I'm predicting that they lose all 3 of those games. I'm not a big Indiana fan. I think that they will have a less than 500 Big Ten record at this same time in 2 weeks. It's good. It's funny because you were talking about Minnesota. Like, I still think Indiana has work to do to be a tournament team at this point. Like, they haven't done anything
Indiana's
like
gonna be a tournament team.
Yeah, I don't think so either. For Minnesota, I think that Pharrell Payne deserves some credit. He had 17 off the bench. I was kind of looking at the Lions game. I'm sorry. I didn't know if you already mentioned that or not. But for me, it was Mike Mitchell Jr. First game that he hasn't scored in the whole season. He scored 0 points, and he's a top 10, I believe. Last time I checked, was top 10 in made 3-pointers in the whole conference. So if you're going to go on the road and beat anybody, you're going to need your top 10 3-point shooter to hit a 3-pointer. And he scored 0 points. So that's not okay for Minnesota. He's got to do better. And really, he's played pretty bad the last 2 games. He hasn't hit a 3 in either of his last 2 games. So I think Mike Mitchell Jr. needs to play better if Minnesota is going to be better. But once again, it's tough to win on the road, even if it is Indiana. But Indiana has some tough sledding coming up, and I think that it's going to get worse before it gets better for the Hoosiers.
That's that YMCA Gabe Cups coming at him. 0 points for Mike Mitchell Jr. I
had to look at that Cup stat line like 3 times. I'm like, this can't be right.
Well,
I don't even believe it.
When I was looking at it, I was like, every single starter scored double digits except Gabe Cups, who scored 0. I was like, how can I intro this game with like every Indiana starter who scored a point scored double digits to like sound impressive, but also like kind of take a shot at Gabe Cups? I don't know. I don't want to take a shot at him, but it's just kind of funny how much he plays and very little scoring. So Steve Izzo, you put Steve Izzo here, 3 points.
Steve Izzo's getting. I mean, based on he's scoring 90 in this game, based on his points per minute.
That's what I'm saying. So, thanks for listening to the Big Ten Huddle. Please do like and subscribe. We appreciate that. If this was your first time listening, we are the Big Ten Huddle. We cover all things Big Ten football and basketball. We have a long episode every Sunday, Tuesday, and Wednesday night, all at 9 o'clock. So come in, check us out, get in the chat, let us know what you're thinking. We would love to have you join us and learn more about the Big Ten.